They don't quiz. They don't
quiz.
kiss.
They don't
They
quiz.
don't quiz.
They don't quiz, everyone. They don't quiz.
They don't
Quissing is
quiz.
not allowed in this quizziety.
They're also not supposed to kiss. They are 12.
No kissing in this community. No quissing in this community.
What is quissing, by the way? I have no
I don't know. Nothing. Quissing.
Words are hard.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Flip the Scripts, your favorite and my favorite adaptation podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Nieman, and I'm always joined by the other host,
Ankit Madhira. Hello.
Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of The Giver. If you missed last week, we started a really exciting book called The Giver and the adaptation of 2014. And so, but like with every episode too, we just don't hop right into it. I have a lovely question based on the book for Ankit. And
Before you ask your question, did you realize that this film is 10 years old?
Don't do that to me, Ankit. Don't do that to me. If you lived in this society, what job would you like to be assigned?
I think I would probably enjoy the job of educator for the 11s. Out of the jobs that we know.
Yeah.
Because, like, I work with 11-year-olds now. Sometimes they're lovely and sometimes they're terrible. But in this society, I feel like they would be generally decent. Because there are so many rules against being rude.
Yeah. Not bad.
And I like working with kids. Like, I do enjoy it. Hence why I currently do the job that I'm doing.
Yeah.
While also still acting and other stuff. But yeah.
It's good.
You?
I think I want to work at the elder place like Fiona did. Because I just love hearing stories. I love just listening to people tell stories.
Oh, yeah. That's fair.
There's also the job of the storyteller, apparently. Like, they haven't had one in a long time, but apparently there is a storyteller job.
Give me that job.
Oh, okay.
I forgot that job existed.
Well, yeah, because she was telling his little sister Lily was telling stories, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be a storyteller, Lily."
Oh yeah, I'll be the storyteller. If I'm not selected as the storyteller, I would love to be assigned the job as a
great
educator to the 11s.
So we're gonna hop back into the adaptation. That's a great little fun question. If you want to answer our questions, you always can in the comment section down below. We love hearing from you. So, Ankit, cutting back to the book. So, we cut to a book scene, and he's taking books off the shelf. He's like, "You want me to read all of these?" And he's like, "Yes." And a map falls out of them. And it's the map of sameness. And I was like, that's interesting.
Culty.
Very culty. Apparently, there's a wall all the way at the end of it, and if you go through it, it's the end of memory is what it's called.
Yeah.
That's what the map
have
shows.
a question.
Yes.
So, in this moment, as well as earlier in the film and in the book, books are new to Jonas.
Mm-hmm.
How do kids learn in school if books are new to Jonas?
I don't think in the book it doesn't say books are new to Jonas. He says these books are new to Jonas. In the film, they say books are new to Jonas.
Great. So in the film, how has he gotten to the age of 18 and learnt things? Was the entire schooling done orally?
Yes. I don't know. I'm not the one who did the adaptation.
Answer my question, Stephen.
Okay. He learned it through osmosis.
Ha! Beautiful. Okay. So the same way he's getting memories. Fantastic.
Yes. Then the giver takes him to a room with a piano, which doesn't exist in the book, and he teaches him about music. And
which he doesn't do in the book.
I was very disappointed with this section because, number one, yes, music does get talked about in the book, but it's supposed to be a very sentimental moment where the giver owns the music for himself, where Jonas is like, "Listen, you're my really good friend. I love you. Keep the music." and it's a really sentimental moment.
Yeah,
I
and
love
the
it.
giver's like, I will share a little bit, and Jonas is like, no.
Yeah. And he learns the power of emotion and what his morning injections do to him at the same time. And so from then on, he's like, stop taking your morning injections. And I'm like, yeah, he's legally allowed to not. Like, that's part of his job. But they make it this whole thing where he has to have an apple do it. And I'm like, that's weird.
Well, because they made it an injection instead of just taking
Pills.
a pill.
Yeah. So he also then, the next memory he sees is a wedding with music and joy. And it's like, it's a huge thing. And I love it. It's like an old Celtic wedding, I want to say, with like the dresses the way they are.
Yeah.
It's really
It reminded
cool.
me of like the wedding that like I recently watched when I watched Braveheart on post finale.
Oh, well, there you go. Watch Braveheart from a post finale, and you can understand what Ankit's talking about.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in episode 2 of Braveheart. Or part
2 of 6, everyone. 2 of 6.
Yeah, that was a long film.
This is only an hour
it was
30.
that long of a film.
Braveheart's like 3 hours.
Yeah, it was double the length.
So then we cut to Jonas teaching his sister the dancing from the wedding, and she's like, this is weird, and his mom's getting really concerned about him teaching her dancing, and I'm like, well, yes, Jonas should not be teaching her dancing. A. B. Dancing's illegal in this society? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Also, like, I don't get why the mom is so worried, because, like, all they're doing is holding hands and spinning in a circle.
Yeah. The leader then telegrams into their house, which doesn't happen in the book at all, to warn Jonas. And I'm like,
she doesn't intrude.
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing with the giver? Like, what are you doing with him? And he's like, and he lies to her. He says they do nothing. And I'm like,
well, no,
yeah.
He originally tells her, we talk.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, we don't actually do anything. Like,
and then he leaves, and she goes to her mom. And his mom is like, you should be worried about your son. I would be worried. And I'm like, then why did you give him the job in the first place, lady?
Yeah.
Don't make any sense. It don't make any sense.
I don't like what they did with the chief elder, because they made her out to be a villain when she isn't.
Yeah.
Like, she's not a villain in the story. The story doesn't have a villain per se.
She's also not against Jonas learning the lessons.
Yeah.
I don't get it, Ankit. I don't
like
get it.
This story doesn't have like a set villain. Like, it's more like the entire society eventually kind of becomes one. But it's not like, oh, the chief elder is the villain. But it's Hollywood, and you have to have a villain.
I guess. So he goes back and he learns more and more about life. We see a montage of life of like the whole world. It's really, really cool, really fascinating. I also put at this point, I missed the fact that he's 12.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something about 12-year-old wonder about seeing this stuff for the first time. The world.
Fair. I think there was a line somewhere, and I may have already missed it, or it might be in this scene coming up, but I really liked it, and it was a line from The Giver, and he just says, don't accept the truth just because it is coming from someone you respect.
It is in this montage, yes.
It's in this montage. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that it was in this moment because I had it in my notes.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just like, like, don't accept it, question it, and then if it is the truth, move on, and like, then you can accept it. But like, don't accept the truth blindly is, and I liked that.
Mm-hmm. He then experiences the death of elephants. This is also in the book as a painful experience. Now, the giver is slowly giving him painful experiences because he's like, Jonas, you need to experience this. You need to experience the good with the bad. Because the giver is also hurt by all the bad in the world. He is hurt by those bad memories. But like physically, but they don't show that in the film. They kind of ignore that part of his character, and they don't really
do
touch...
at one point a bit later.
Yeah, but I think it's done differently, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But it just isn't used well. And then Jonas is like, why would they kill an elephant? He learns what death is, and it's really hard for him, as it would be for anybody, especially when you're 12, not 18. But it's fine. He's a repressed 18-year-old.
Yeah.
We cut to Jonas then waking up because Gabe is crying. So Gabriel is crying, and he's in Fiona's room. Not Fiona's room. I apologize. Lily's room.
He wants to be in Fiona's room.
He wants to be in Fiona's room. He's 18. He wakes up to Gabe's crying, and it's in Lily's room. Now, Gabriel is originally in his parents' room, and then eventually gets put in his room because he's asked Gabriel to be moved in his room because he can calm Gabriel down. Gabriel only will calm down if Jonas is there because they have such a good connection. He then tells him about it's not a hippo, it's an elephant. So
yeah, there's a little stuffed toy elephant, and they've been calling it a hippo so far.
Yes, and he also he actually implants on Jonas, but he sends some of his receiver stuff to Jonas.
And like the happy bit.
Not the sad bit.
Yeah.
And then he looks across the window. Apparently it's night, so everyone should be sleeping. He looks across the window. His next door neighbor, it's Fiona, brushing her hair. And I'm like...
Not there in the book, but like, all right, you got to have the lust.
And then he goes to bed and he dreams of Fiona, lust and love. They're at the wedding together.
Oh, look, and then they kiss.
He takes her to a forest and they kiss, and he wakes up and he's like, I had a dream. I don't know what a dream is. And he learns about dreams. And this is where I have an issue. Dreams are in the book. Dreams are actually in the book. They literally have them. Every night they talk about dreams. Dreams are in the book. Jonas doesn't dream, but dreams are in the book. And he has a dream about Fiona in the book, and he tells his parents about it. And that puts him on medicine. It's medicine to stop lust. It is medicine to stop love. It is medicine to stop emotion.
Yeah.
That's the medicine he gets put on. Because it's supposed to, at the age of 12, kids start feeling stuff. It's supposed to stop them from feeling that stuff.
Yep.
But at the age of 18...
you have felt that stuff.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. So
you
the
think
dreams.
I do?
The dreams. No, I just don't get the adaptation choices.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm
so
confused.
He then learns of love, the importance of love. And it's this amazing thing. And then he rides his bike and he tries to court Fiona. And I was like, wow, he's really trying to flirt with her. And all the stuff about relationship is not in the book at all because he's 12. He's
12. None of this should be happening. But on the flip side, oh boy, did they get the guy is trying to flirt and girl has zero interest trope. Bang on.
He then goes home and he asks his parents if they love him.
And the mom's just like, precision of language. I hate this mom. Katie Holmes did great, if I was supposed to hate the mom.
I mean, I also just don't like Katie Holmes as an actress, but that's my own personal opinion.
Fair. I mean, I was like, well, if I was supposed to hate the mom, Katie Holmes, you did your job.
Is Katie Holmes the Rachel from Dark Knight or Rachel from Batman Begins?
Batman Begins.
No one. Yeah, I'm glad she got replaced then. She just didn't want to die on screen.
The one on Dark Knight was Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal.
That's right. Maggie Gyllenhaal did a good job. Rachel, where is she?
Burning.
If you subscribe to our Patreon, you can listen to an early episode of Post Finale where Ankit and I actually talked about Batman Begins.
Yeah, it's a test episode when I was still trying to figure out how that show was going to work. And
it kind of inspired this show. So subscribe to our Post Finale, subscribe to our Patreon.
Check it out. It's audio only, so you can listen to it wherever you are.
Yeah. So, where was I?
I don't know. We were talking about Katie Holmes. Oh, asking parents
he asked
about
if he was loved. And they're like, do we respect you? Do we admire your goals and all this stuff? Yes. And
which is true in the book. That is what was in the book.
It's sad that love has gone down to like specific vocabulary words where love is such an unattainable, like unexplainable phenomenon. Like it just, as a director who literally uses that in my directing style of like, hey, go in with love in this moment as an actor, and you'll
I don't
never
know
be
what that
wrong.
means, Stephen. I can't do that.
If an actor ever said, "I don't know what it means to love," I don't know what I would do as a director. I think I would not. I would be like, I would literally be stumped. I'd be like,
Hey, for context, Stephen, don't direct 10-year-olds.
yes, obviously.
Well, no, because last night I was assistant directing, and I just mentioned something to a 10-year-old. It didn't have to do with love, but like I was like, so you know this, and I don't remember the context exactly, but I was like, you know how this happens, and they're like, no, and I'm like, okay, give me a minute, because I had to like reevaluate on how to explain like a certain emotion to this child.
Oh no, that's fun though. That's different. That's
I was
different.
like, hold on. Like, how do I explain this in a way that you will understand?
But that's different. I feel like sometimes like that's fun. That's fun. That's just different. That's just fun.
Yeah.
I'm talking about an adult actor. If an adult actor literally said, "I don't know how to do that with love," and I'm gonna be like, okay.
Dude, one of my acting teachers, just said, to be a good actor, you have to feel everything. You have to allow yourself to be mad. You have to allow yourself to, feel anger. And then she literally goes, raise your hand if you've had your heart broken. And then the people who didn't raise their hand, she was like, your homework assignment is to go fall in love and get your heart broken.
If every acting is a cult, I love it. Acting's a cult. he then goes up to Gabe later later in the night, and he tells Gabe quietly how he loves Gabe, and he shares the love of animals with Gabe. And I'm like, this is great. This is really, really great stuff. This is from the book. This is fantastic. The only thing that's not from the book is Lily is there. Asleep next to that scene happening. And I don't think she's actually I do think she's listening.
Yeah.
He then goes to meet the giver again. And the giver is on the floor. Writhing.
Writhing?
WRITHING.
The spelling isn't gonna help me. I think it's writhing.
Writhing in pain?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, if I'm wrong, shoot me.
Hold on. I will have to potentially figure out how to get a car down to California. Give me a second.
Okay. You're more than welcome. I mean, we literally have a guest room with your name on it right now. So you'll have gym equipment in there, but I feel like that'd be fun for you. So, writhing in pain, and it looks like he's having a flashback. And, he grabs his arm, and Jonas gets thrown into Vietnam. And it is Vietnam. It literally, I was like looking at that scene. I was like, this has to be Nam.
If that is not Nam, wow, we are very bad at our history of American wars.
With all the soldiers dying and everything, I was like, yeah.
That's why I said specifically of American wars.
Yeah. So there's a guy named Robbie, and Robbie's there with as a fellow soldier with Jonas now, and Robbie's like, and dies. So Robbie dies right in front of Jonas, and Jonas is experiencing war, like war hell. He has kind of a similar moment in the book, and it's not written as a Vietnam flashback, where it's like everyone's dying from thirst, and he's trying to give them all water, and he experiences that kind of war, where it's like a war, a famine caused by war instead of being in a war.
Yeah.
I like both. I don't have an issue with this scene.
I don't have an issue with this scene. I was like, okay, cool, great. You needed to get across war. Fantastic. You've done that.
I think it would have been fascinating if instead of Jonas being an 18-year-old at this moment, he was still 12 though.
Oh yeah.
12-year-old in Vietnam? Holy moly. That would have been I think that scene would have just been like
It would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. The other thing is, in the book, the giver purposely gives him this pain,
Yes.
where in the film he
He
accidentally gives
accidentally.
it to him, which I'm like, eh.
Yeah. Anyway, the
So
giver starts apologizing. He's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to."
yeah, the dwarf freaks Jonas out and he runs away, and then it reminds him of, we then see the girl before Jonas, who is named finally Rosemary, and she runs away too. And I realized who the actor was when I saw the face, and I was like, oh my gosh, they did not cast this person in this movie.
Hey guys, they cast Taylor Swift in this movie.
It's Taylor Swift. So for all the Swifties out there who love Taylor Swift, watch this movie because it has Taylor Swift in it.
Yeah.
I didn't know
She plays the piano in it.
I didn't know she did acting. I had no clue.
I think she did early on in her career. I don't think she does anymore.
This is Taylor when she still did country music, right? In 2014?
This is
or early pop Taylor.
I want to say it's back maybe Love Story kind of time frame of Taylor. Look, I don't know all of her different eras. I know that there's one that's 1949, and I know that there's one that's Red. I don't know any of the others.
Yeah. So Jonas is now walking away from it, and he's walking through a field where everybody's playing games, and he's kind of having PTSD of what he just went through, like most soldiers did after Vietnam. Fair enough. And Asher's there. He's like, come play a game. And they talk about how he used to play war games, and now war is real, and that's scary to him.
Yeah.
So even in a society with no guns, they played with guns. Now, in the book, that after this scene, it's I think it's a couple chapters after this scene, they do play a war game. It's really fun. It's a day where they all get a day off from work. And he ends up showing up at the field, and he freaks out when people shoot at him fakely, and it sends him into a PTSD in front of everyone.
Yeah. And then Asher and Fiona don't get it, and he just is don't play this game again. And they're like, okay, we won't, but why? And he can't explain it. Asher gets mad at him, going I'm the one that's in charge of this, and he's just dude, you don't know what this means. Just please don't play it. Asher gets mad at him, and Fiona's all right, it's okay, everything will be okay, Jonas.
Like a 12-year-old conversation would actually go.
Oh my god, fascinating.
So he's walking away from it, and Fiona sees him, and she literally abandons her job. She tells her coworker, can you watch the baby I'm supposed to be watching so I can go comfort my boyfriend?
Yeah.
She goes over to Jonas to comfort him, and she's like, hi, can I help you? And
I'm in love with you, even though I don't know what love is.
And he's like, listen, start skipping your morning injection. Here's an apple, put your blood on it, make it have the morning injection. She's like, no, what do you want? He's like, listen, I'm gonna quit, we're gonna run away. And she's like, listen, if you don't quit, I'll quit my morning injections. And I was like, what does this accomplish? What does any of that accomplish?
Ankit? What did it accomplish? Hold on, I'm trying to think on the spot. Okay, so what it accomplished is that it established something that we all already knew, is that love was not truly dead, and it was not truly requited. It was just suppressed. And deep down, when two people truly do have feelings for each other, they will go to the extreme lengths to try to save the other person.
Wow, you'd be an amazing defense attorney for these movies. I think about what you said the other time. What was it? We were talking about the line from Avatar: Last Airbender in a recent episode, and it was I was like, I'm the one. I hate this dialogue, and you're like, I was like, what does it even mean? And you actually gave an answer to what it meant, and I was like, wow, you got all that. You're like, no.
Yeah, this one took me slightly longer just because I had to like process like what was happening.
Defense attorney of bad movies. There we go. That's your new job title.
I mean, it's also finally watching good movies on the other show.
There you go. So
I like how we haven't found a good movie on this show.
we really enjoyed the first Hunger Games and Catching Fire. Catching Fire was our best rated.
Fine. Okay. Let's rephrase this. We haven't found many good movies on this show.
No.
I enjoyed Ender's Game. I did enjoy Ender's Game. I just had certain issues with Ender's Game. But I did enjoy it.
I liked Ender's Game. I think the issue for us is, even when we've done series, nothing has maintained through the whole series. Like, we might have liked the first two movies, but then we hate the last three.
I don't know. We'll find out. This might change with the series that we're starting next, which we will announce at the end of the episode.
Well, no, we have another book before that.
Oh, right. I forgot about the book. At the end of in 2 weeks.
4 weeks. Oh, well, no.
No, 2 weeks for the listeners.
3 weeks.
It's 4 weeks for us.
Yeah. He's also starting to fall deep in love with Fiona. You can tell he's like drooling over this actress. I mean, to be fair, they're 18. Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah,
she's the only girl in your life, so
that isn't your mom who's just overbearing.
Yeah. And then he shows up back at the giver's house because he's like, I'm not going to quit. And he walks in on a ghost playing the piano. It turns out to be a hologram, but I was like, the ghosts are in this now? I was very confused. But it was a hologram of Rosemary, and it's Taylor Swift. And they did it because Taylor Swift. Definitely. Because you don't really see Rosemary at all in the book, but they did it because Taylor Swift.
That's 100% also why the piano room exists.
Exactly.
It's Taylor Swift.
So he then learns about Rosemary and, learns that she left and she asked to be released. And this hit a lot harder in the book because there was the rule that you can't ask to be released as the receiver, is because she asked to be released.
Nice. Fun fact.
What?
Did you know that Taylor Swift has 74 acting credits on IMDb?
Are you serious? 74?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got curious and I clicked on it. I mean, a lot of it is like concert stuff, but even if you cut that out, like, I don't know, there's 74 credits here as actress.
So he was like, great, so she's still alive. She just released somewhere because that's what Jonas believes releasing is. And then the giver presses a button and says, show me the release of today. And they show these two twins. So in the book, it does lead to this moment. This all does happen in the book. But part of it is because Jonas knows that there's two twins born and one of them will be released today because twins can't exist in this society. Yeah. So according to the rules, twins can't exist in this society because they're too similar. And that is a thing. But then
sameness, like, what? Okay, fine.
The twin thing really, really is like, it's disgusting. It's just so disgusting.
Terrible.
So whoever weighs more at birth gets to live. Whoever weighs less gets released. And we learn that releasing is not setting them free to be in another community or sending them to elsewhere, which is beyond the border. It is literally putting poison into the vein of the baby's head and killing it.
Almost instantly.
Which was what happens to everyone. So it goes in the vein and it kills them. He is then traumatized by what his father did to the twins. And he's like, we have to fix this. We have to do something. And it just kind of stays there for a minute. Now, in the book, when Jonas watches this as a 12-year-old, because he's 12, not 18, in the book, he freaks out so much. He freaks out so much he can't leave the house for a day. He literally stays in the giver's house all night.
Yeah.
And that's when Gabriel gets sentenced to be released, is when he's away from Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
So...
But we don't learn that, because in the book, they create a plan.
Yes. So they're like, we have to fix this, and then nothing happens. We just cut to the next scene in the film, and it's like, oh, okay. And Jonas finds Fiona in their little waterfall thing, bobber,
Sure, yeah.
and she's freaking out because she's off her medicine, and so he kisses her.
They don't quiz. They don't
quiz.
kiss.
They don't quiz. They don't quiz, everyone. They don't quiz. Quissing is not allowed in this quizziety.
They're also not supposed to kiss. They are 12.
No kissing in this community. No quissing in this community.
What is quissing, by the way? I have no
I don't know. Nothing. Quissing.
Words are hard. We've only
Quissing is what
make
happens when two people with braces kiss because you hear the chink of metal.
No.
I don't know. I was trying to come up with an example.
Where do you get the quiz, though? Like that's the kachis.
Oh, it's that's kachissing.
That's kachissing because that's the chink of the metal.
Okay, what about retainers? Because retainers are like a little loose.
Okay, we can call that a quiz.
Yeah, that's a quiz. So
okay,
two retainers.
Yeah.
Please don't cancel us.
This is... Sometimes we are very intellectual people on this show. Sometimes you get things like this.
The stirring is then... So she leaves him after they've kissed, and the stirring is explained, which we talked about in the last episode, how people have dreams and, as a 12-year-old, and they have to take pills to prevent any lust feelings or love feelings. And he shows up back at home, and he learns Gabe has failed, and he is set to be released. And this really upsets him. And he's like, I'm leaving. I'm going. And he decides he's going to go save Gabe. And that, everyone, is where we're going to take our snack break.
Woo. We're back.
We're back, and Jonas is upset that Gabe has failed and he's set to be released, and oh no.
It's just terrible. It's sad. Gabriel's his little buddy. Hey, Stephen.
Yeah.
From here on out, the end is different. Do you want to explain the film and then I explain the book? Because they are just extremely different.
So there are some things that are similar in both the ending of the film and the ending of the book.
Yes.
But
the concept of
I'll
the
stop.
Hey,
I'll stop at the snow. How's that?
That works because that's most of the ending.
Cool. I'll snap at the snow. I'll stop at the snow. I'll stop at the snow.
Great. Words are hard today, ladies and gentlemen. Words are hard today.
I'll snap at the stove.
Just stop at the snow.
You got it. So Jonas is like, I gotta go save Gabe. So he gets on his bike late at night and he tries to go leave. Asher sees him and stops him in the middle of his tracks. Asher is like, no, you can't break rules. Even if you're this guy, you just can't do it. And I'm like, when has Asher ever been for the rules? Even Asher, the character, has never been for the rules. But whatever. So Ankit's gonna do book. I'm just talking film. But so there he is, and he gets decked. Jonas punches Asher, and Asher's like, oh, I can't believe you punched me.
I will say, solid punch.
Yeah, it's a good punch. So then Jonas goes over to the giver's house, and he's like, let's plan the escape. And I'm like, cool. This does happen in the book. Okay, we'll talk about it. And we then cut to the president and his mother trying to find Jonas because Asher reported Jonas to his mom. Okay.
And she has access to the president. Or chief elder, I'm sorry.
I know, it's just really dumb. And they're like, we need to find him now. She calls into the giver's hut and is like, is Jonas there? And giver's like, no, I don't know where he is. And it's just like, okay. So they're starting desperately looking for Jonas, and Giver's like, okay, here's the plan. Here's what you got to do. return my map when you get a chance. And so Jonas goes to get Gabe and leave. Now, he shows up at the hospital, and guess who's working there? Fiona!
Oh my
gosh. It's almost like
goodness.
that's why they changed her job, so she could be part of the ending. And
You know
so
what? We should have seen this coming. We really should have
Fiona's
seen this
there,
coming.
and Fiona's like, he's like, where's Gabe? And she's like, Gabe's in the restricted section. She also, the president sends military police to like go kill him at the same time. So like,
Yeah.
military police are after Jonas. I mean, it's a very, very crazy. It's very Hollywoodized. So he goes in there.
It's
They
an
go to
action sequence.
yeah, they go in there. They go into the restricted room, and they find Gabe. And he takes Gabe, and he runs left, and she runs with another an empty one right, and they kiss each other goodbye. And he runs, and he escapes. They're following her. They're chasing her because they think she has Gabe, and he has Gabe actually, and he's running the other way. But also at the same time, movie-wise, that doesn't make any sense because they're there to get him, not the baby.
The baby.
So they're following her for no reason.
I didn't put that together until you just explained it, and that is so accurate.
So he hops on a motorcycle because there's motorcycles now, guys.
The military police.
And he steals a motorcycle and he rides it off into the distance towards the giver's house. And Gabe's in the front and he jumps over the edge and he just keeps riding and riding and riding and riding. And you would think this is where the movie ends. But nay, the movie does not end here. So he keeps riding and then we cut to the president. Oh, and then they do a ceremony of loss for Jonas, and everyone's like,
for like
you
5
can't
seconds.
say his name anymore. They also electrocute the giver and put him in a cell, and they also arrest Fiona. So just a bunch of stuff going on, and they're like, Fiona, you're not on your medicine. We got to put you back on it. So a lot of stuff going on. So the president then convinces Asher to find Jonas and kill him, and I'm like, okay, so this is why he's a drone pilot. So Asher,
so that he could be in the end of the film.
Yeah, so Asher
really
controlling
coming.
Also, Asher also gets called out by Fiona for turning Jonas into his mom.
Yeah,
she's like, I thought we were friends, and it's like it's a whole moment. It's a pretty good moment.
It's the saving grace of the moment.
So Asher, who controls a drone, is flying it. Flying it over. He sees Jonas. He's like, hey, there you are. I'm going to get you. And Jonas is like, I'm going to run away. Don't do this. And they actually have a conversation through the drone. Okay. And he tractor beams him into the drone, him and Gabe, and he drops him into a river.
Yeah.
And he's like, please survive. And I'm like, well, why did you drop them to a river if you want them to?
You could have just let them go.
You could have literally just dropped him off near where he needed to be.
Yeah.
You could have ended the film that early. That's what I'm saying. You could have turned off your intercom and just been like, listen, I'm going to take you where you need to be so you don't have to
tell
worry.
me which direction to fly.
Literally, I'm your friend. I will be the friend you need. Cool. He doesn't do that. He drops him
in a river. He says, if you're going to survive, you have to survive on your own.
The bike died, which I'm like, okay.
Because it's an electrical bike.
Yeah, because that makes sense. And Asher tells the president, and he lies to the president, yeah, I did it. I killed him. Don't worry, it's finished. And I was like, well, no, Asher's not allowed to lie, and Asher wouldn't lie. But
and Asher doesn't know how to lie.
Okay.
Sure.
We'll let him lie. And so he keeps walking, and Fiona is told she's going to be released.
The giver does look upset by this.
And she says, but I felt things. I felt real things, and you gotta understand these real emotions. They're so real. And then Jonas and Gabe, they make it to the snow mountain. And they keep walking up the snow. At the same time, at the end of the film, it is literally a fight to the end, because while Jonas is doing what he's doing to, stop everything, we'll let Ankit explain that moment. Fiona is about to get released, and there's this really big argument about what love is, and it's between Jeff Bridges and the president. I don't know who plays the president.
Meryl Streep.
Oh, it is Meryl Streep. My bad. Kill me later. Meryl Streep plays the president. And so it's an argument about what love is, and then love and love and love. And yeah. And they're doing a ceremony to release Fiona, and they argue about the need of love, and that is leading to the end of the movie. And basically it's like Jonas has to do something to make sure Fiona's gonna live. So it's very Hollywoodized. That is like literally what happens in like 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah, you just summarized it in like 7.
Ah. Well, it didn't need 20 minutes, did it then?
No.
Okay.
I mean, sure, you did skip all the dialogue and like, things like that. So like, yeah, fair enough.
Also, the whole point at this moment is Jonas wants to get past the barrier, because he gets past the barrier, it'll save Fiona, which is not in the book.
But he also doesn't know that.
Yes. Now, Ankit, please explain the book ending. From the moment they start to plan.
Yeah. So in the book, we learn that the night that Jonas spends at the Givers is the night that they concoct this plan. And the plan is in that 2 weeks, when the ceremony is supposed to happen, because the ceremony always happens at the beginning of December. So when the ceremony happens, Jonas is going to tell his parents that he's sitting with Asher. And then he'll tell Asher that he's going to sit with his family. So it'll take people a while to realize that he's gone. Meanwhile, the Giver is going to request a car that day to take him to another community, which is not a weird thing. The Giver has done this before. And the Giver rarely goes to the ceremony. He only went the year before because of Jonas. So not a weird thing to do. Jonas is going to hide away in the trunk of that car, and then by the time that anyone realizes that Jonas is gone, he will be well on his way to outside the barrier to somewhere else, so that the memories can be released. They don't fully know like exactly that there is a barrier somewhere. They just have a semblance of like if he goes away, the memories will return, kind of deal in the book. So
all the memories that Jonas knows, to be clear. And so Jonas has spent a year with
obtaining memories.
So that whole year of memories will be released at the same time.
Yeah. And
instead of every single memory, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So it's all the memories that he has. And so then what happens is that he goes back to his family unit, and then he learns that Gabriel, this is his last night spending with the family, because tomorrow he is set to be released. So that entire plan goes out the wall and out the window, and ta-ta, bye-bye, goodbye plan. And that night, Jonas steals his father's bicycle because it has the baby carrying thing on the back for Gabriel. And then he starts riding away. And he just starts riding as fast as he can, as far as he can. And just starts riding the way. He wants to stop and say bye to the Giver, but he also knows that there is no time to do so. And so then in the morning, everyone realizes like, oh, he's gone. And so they send out search planes to go find him. And so they hide during the mornings, and then they ride at nights. And, they hide during the mornings and during the day, and then they hide at night when the search planes wouldn't be out. And then sometimes, like, during the night as well, they hear planes, and it's just like, Gabriel's also, like, really helpful going, plane! It's like, I see a plane! And because sometimes Gabriel would hear it before Jonas would.
Also, there's cute moments where he thought birds were planes. It's just a good time of getting to know them as a unit.
Yeah, but like literally the last like 2 chapters of the book is just Jonas riding and running away and
Yeah.
seeing different things. They slowly get to hills. They slowly get to other things. They start seeing wildlife. They start seeing trees. They start seeing different types of trees, things like that. They eventually then get to a mountain, and it starts getting really cold. And Jonas is transferring all the warmth that he can to Gabe to try to keep him alive. And keep in mind, he is 12 doing
This
this.
does happen in the film as well.
Yeah.
He is transferring, and the thing that's keeping him warm is thoughts of Fiona. That is not happening in the book, vice versa. It is more Jonas is sacrificing most of his warmth to keep Gabe alive.
Yeah. And so then he is at a mountain, as we were saying. He gets to the mountain, and then it's described beautifully in the book where it's not a memory of someone else's, it's a memory of his. And then this portion is the same in the book and the film, but he knows where to go now. And he goes over and he does find the red sled where the red sled is supposed to be.
It's not red in the book. It's not red in the film, I meant.
Oh, yeah, it's not red in the film. It's like brown?
It's black.
Oh, that's sad.
Because it can't be a red sled, because that's lame.
Yeah. Red sleds are fun. It makes you Santa Claus.
I don't get it. Also, the really cool thing about this, the other thing that they've added is there's this tower that they have to pass. There's no tower in the book, but there's this tower he has to pass to cause... It's like a goalpost that he has to go through to make things happen.
Yeah. Whereas in the book, like, we never know when he crosses that barrier.
We also just don't know what happens when he crosses it. We literally just don't have that reaction of what happens to his friends.
We don't know. We don't know what happens to the society because we are only focused on Jonas. We have no idea what's going on with the society. And so, yeah, like that happens. And then they do, in both the book and the film, they find the sled and they start sledding down. In the film, he passes this goalpost tower thingamabob. And, oh, look, all the memories are released. Every single memory ever is released. Or at least that's how they portray it in the film.
And color comes back to the community, and it's like, yay, and love.
Fiona is saved at the last second.
And it's like a really big... And even the mom cries because she remembers she loves Jonas.
Yeah, no, she learns what love is and then realizes that she has been a terrible mother.
And this is where the endings are different, again. And so Jonas... I'm going to explain film, Ankit will explain book. So Jonas goes down the hill, passes the goalpost. Everyone's saved. Yay, happy ending. Meryl Streep and Jeff Bridges are like, woo, 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 happiness. And they realize they've been lied to their whole lives as well. And he ends up down at the bottom of the hill and he sees the house. It's the house of Christmas. It's the Christmas house that he saw in a memory, in the same memory as the sled originally. And he's like, oh, I can hear the music. Or maybe it's just an echo. And he just walks towards the house, and that's the end of the film. Compared to the ending of the book, which Ankit will explain.
Compared to the ending of the book, all that happens at the ending of the book is that he sees the lights of a village at the bottom of the hill. And he's like, we've made it. Like, we are going to reach there. He knows that they're going to reach there safely. And that, help will be there, and like they are going to be okay. And the book ends while they're still sledding down a hill.
I like the book ending because it's a little more vague than the film ending, and I think it's more intrigue. You get to know. I think one of the things it's just so Hollywoodized at the end. He runs and he kisses her, and he's like running and he's biking, motorcycling, and there's a drone. He gets dropped into a river. It's like and it's like. It's like, do we really need this action scene to tell the story, or is it more integral just to actually use character development? And I would argue the character development of Jonas was way more important in those last few chapters. You got, like, that's the thing that's missing. Like, you had an hour and a half movie to do a 200-page book, and I don't even know who Jonas is.
Yeah, fair.
And yeah, and you just the ending was just meh. It was
Yeah,
schmeh. It was schmeh.
fair.
Um,
But that's the whole film, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, color comes back to the world. People are happy. People cry because they're like, I'm seeing true horror, true death, true life. Um, and but you know what? Jonas's dad is still a good dad
He's
at the end of the
still a
day.
good dad.
Still a
Even
good
though
dad.
he was the one that was conducting the ceremony of release on Fiona and doing the release, it was just like, he was trying to be as comforting as possible. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm laughing because I don't know what just happened, but I think Steven's dog decided to run, and it just pulled his headphones off of his head and like launched his mic forward. Oh, Steven, what just happened?
Bruce got stuck on the Bruce got stuck on the headphones and to go in them because Grace is barking outside and he was like, "It's okay, buddy. It's okay." um, so
Oh.
yeah, that's The Giver, everyone. It's now time for our favorite section, the ratings. The
Woo!
ratings.
Please
The
let us know your
ratings.
ratings down below. Also, we have a question for you all that we were talking about off screen. Are our ratings accurate? Do you agree with them? Or are Steven and I just being really harsh critics?
¿Por qué no los dos?
I mean, it could be both. I don't know. This is the question for the audience.
Okay, so, Ankit, what would you rate the book as just a book?
8.5.
Yeah,
I really like this book.
8.5. It's a really good book. It's well done. It leaves a little bit. It could have been longer. I think the book could be another 100 pages, and I would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I just think like it would have been fun to learn a bit more about some of the things that he learns, but it also like works. The length is good. Like it's not like it doesn't need to be longer.
No.
She told a really good story and it was just really solid. Like I said before we even started this one, I love this book. Like it's a great book.
Yeah. I agree. 8.5, 8.5. That's not bad. So, what would you rate this as a film, not an adaptation?
Probably like a 6.72.
Wow, really specific.
I don't know. It was more like a 6.7, and then the 2 was just a fun little add-on.
So when this came out in 2014, so I would have been 18 when it came out.
Yeah.
I liked it when I was 18. I thought this was a really cool film. But I think now that I'm 28, I see a lot of faults with it. I would give it a 6.5. I think that it has a really solid idea. I just think it Hollywoodizes the ending too much.
Mm-hmm.
It tries to do too much in the ending. The ending's very confusing. It's very fractured. I think the scene transitions are also very, very shaky. Yeah. It doesn't feel like we stay in scenes long enough to understand them as an audience, and it doesn't leave too much to the imagination. It does a Dune thing. It doesn't do Dune. Like, our Dune is like, oh, we're gonna kind of hide some stuff for you so you can think about it. It just shows everything and just spells everything out. And I think letting us live with moments instead of cutting to the next moment without that moment of like letting us live with it just hurts the storytelling.
Mm-hmm. I think it did. I gave it 6.5, 6.7 for similar reasons. I think as a film it does work, but you just don't, other than a little bit of the relationship of the giver and Jonas, and then Jonas just being in love with Fiona. There aren't many relationships in this book anyway, but it felt like, okay, why are you making, to me, like the place that the film lost me was that the chief elder was the villain.
Yeah.
Because if the society was like this and nobody else has these memories, why is the chief elder able to do so much if they don't have these memories either? So that's what confused me about the film in terms of like the film, but and then some of the reasons that you gave as well.
Yeah. What would you rate it as an adaptation?
4.5.
I was gonna say it 3.9.
Fair. I would say 4.5. Only reason that I would give it a 4.5 is I think it got the structure right. It did get the essence of our two main characters right.
Mm-hmm.
It got the essence of the giver right. It got the essence of Jonas right. Other than the fact that Jonas is supposed to be a 12-year-old. That was a major down point for me. And then, so like, it did that. It had portions that were the same as the book. And when they had the portions that were the same as the book, I think they did a really good job with being accurate to the book. And even
I
like,
think they just lost the plot. I think like they were just trying so hard to make it feel within that line of like Hunger Games or Divergent or The Maze Runner. Like it came out of 2014 where all those movies were coming out, and it just felt like everybody wanted the next Harry Potter. Everyone wanted the next. That is literally it. Everyone wanted the next Harry Potter. Harry Potter was ending. Harry Potter was coming to an end. Everybody wanted the millions and billions of dollars that J.K. Rowling was racking in, and Warner Brothers. So I feel like, but they couldn't just let the book be the book. They had to put this action in it that just didn't need him. I just think like it would feel like if they remade Stand By Me.
I'm sorry, what?
The movie Stand By Me? Do you know the movie Stand By Me? It's great.
I'm sorry, what?
Guys, watch post finale for Ankit to do Stand By Me in a couple of months, maybe.
I'm still very confused. What is this film?
It's a great film. It's called Stand By Me. It's about kids. It's about youth. It's about growing up.
Oh, okay, sure.
And that's what The Giver also is. It's a coming of age story. And you know who doesn't come of age in this story? Jonas. And I just mean, in reality, this is a coming of age story, and you have nowhere to go. Well, you've shot yourself in the foot. At the same time, you're not telling the story in an interesting way, and you have to Hollywoodize it because you shot yourself in the foot. Because the ending is really interesting to see a 12-year-old bike all that distance to get to what he gets to at the end in a very vague way. We don't understand where he ends up. It makes people want to read the next book, of course, because there is a second book. But
she didn't originally plan on writing a second book. She wrote the second book years later, apparently.
Well, then, yeah, the ending is vague. I love it. I love vague endings. I love the idea that the audience can go, oh, I think it could end here. I think it could go here. I think this happened. I think Jonas failed. I think Jonas succeeded. But you don't get that in the film. You get Jonas succeeded. He's the hero. Yay. Woohoo. Everyone can cry now and be happy.
Yay.
And lie. And
on that note, that's The Giver, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We hope you've enjoyed us going over The Giver. It's been very fun. Like I said, love the book. It was a decent film. Less than stellar adaptation. But that being said, starting next week, we are looking at The Great Gatsby. We are looking at F. Scott Fitzgerald, mainly because Steven just really likes a singular line from Ted.
Ted 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ted 2. But we are starting that. We will be going over the Leonardo DiCaprio version of the film. So if
Baz Luhrmann is the director.
Yes.
To be clear, I feel like it's wrong not to call it Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby.
I never remember who was the director for 95% of the films. I should, but as the actor, I tend to remember the actors, and as the director, you tend to remember the directors. Fair enough. but we get Leonardo DiCaprio, but I'm not even excited about that. We get to see Tobey Maguire be an amazing somebody. I forgot his name already. But Tobey Maguire's in the film, and he's fantastic. But that is the version that we are going to be talking about if you want to watch the film before we talk about it so that you have some context of what is going on. Then that is the version to watch because there are multiple versions of The Great Gatsby.
We'll see you next week then for The Great Gatsby. Follow us on Patreon and all our social medias for more stuff from Flip the Scripts, Co-op Forge, Post Finale, and of course Seattle Across the Pond. Bye now!
Bye. Hello, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Flip the Scripts. Flip the Scripts is created, hosted, and produced by Ankit Madhira and Stephen Nieman. Our editor is Sebastien Hollich. The art is by Kshitija Madhira, and the music is by Sebastien Hollich. If you liked the video, you can click to listen to the next part, or if it's not out yet, you can find one of our previous episodes.
Or if you want to check out some of our other content, here's a fun video from another one of our shows.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, comment, and hit that bell icon to get notified of all of our content when it releases.
Subscribe to our Patreon if you want bonus content.
Links to all of our social media and Patreon are in the episode description down below.
Thank you for supporting our content. Come back next week for more shenanigans from Co-op Forge.
New episodes for Flip the Scripts release every Friday, Seattle Across the Pond every other Thursday, and Post Finale every Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye now.